We're good to go.
Okay, thank you, Hardik. Good afternoon, everybody. Before we begin, please join me, if you would, in a moment of silence for the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who passed away, as we all know, last week. We shall forever cherish and celebrate Justice Ginsburg's lifetime of courageous leadership and service for social justice, fairness, and equity. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Many of you attended the beautiful and meaningful remembrance of Ruth Bader Ginsburg that concluded just a short while ago. On behalf of our entire college community, I want to thank Natalia Vasquez-Bodkin, Amala Ogburn, Kyle Woolley, Eric Adamson, other members of PAC Day, and beyond. Many thanks to those who coordinated this event with virtually no notice, of course, and also for all who participated. The remarks for me were just incredibly powerful, inspirational, and meaningful, and a reminder of what an honor and privilege it is to be part of this community. So thank you all. I hope you're all well and safe. I don't know where the summer went, but I think we're almost in fall, if not officially. Today, I'd like to focus on several things, and then we'll open the meeting for questions, comments, celebrations, and any other issues any of you would like to discuss. But first, I'd like to discuss our fall semester experience to date and the beginning of our planning for spring. And then I'd like to ask several colleagues to provide updates on important work in the areas of student success and diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'll then offer some brief updates on enrollment, the state budget, and very importantly, the resumption of our work to review and update all employee position descriptions, develop an employee position classification system, and conduct a market compensation study. And finally, and most importantly, we will then open the meeting to questions, comments, and discussion. Our fall semester continues to go well, all things considered. I want to thank you, colleagues, for all you're doing for our students, employees, college, and community. Together, we're navigating a time of challenge with dedication, unity, and caring. Last week, we experienced our first reported case of a student testing positive for the virus while on campus. We followed our protocols of quarantining the students involved and deep cleaning the affected facilities. Overall, I'm hearing many positive comments about all parts of our semester, though I'm very interested in hearing your comments today. But certainly this includes the deep appreciation of our community for the efforts of so many to maintain the safest possible environment for what we are doing on ground, and for everyone's efforts to support and continuously improve the online and remote experiences of students, faculty, and staff. And I'm a believer that we can never thank people enough. I want to especially thank, once again, Ilya Ashman, Jack Quigley, Julio Maldonado, Archana Bandari, Tricia Clay, and all of their team members for their continued extraordinary leadership and support. Thank you all, and so many more. Our college community is now engaged in planning for spring, and I thank our faculty, our coordinators, deans, members of the RTC task force, and others in our community for their collaborative work to prepare for the spring semester. We're planning at the moment for a continued mix of online, remote, and on-ground instruction and services, with some potential increase in the number of planned on-ground courses and services beginning in January. While we need to make preliminary decisions as we prepare the spring schedule, we will, of course, make adjustments as necessary and appropriate before the start of the spring semester as circumstances change over the next 4 months. Clearly, we've learned much and continue to improve the remote and online teaching and learning experience for students, faculty, and staff, and that good work will continue. I've asked Heather DeVries and Lisa Doherty to offer an update of the continuing work of the Return to Campus Task Force and beyond. And so, Lisa and Heather, I turn it over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Hi, everyone. I hope that the start to the semester is going very well for all of you. We want to really thank especially the Return to Campus Task Force and the many subgroups for all of their work in getting the start of the semester off to so far a very good start. And then I really want to thank the entire college community for their flexibility, adaptability, and compliance with all of the new protocols in terms of the health screening and the mask wearing and social distancing. And many people are working out of different spaces on campus and different schedules and roles and responsibilities. So it really does take a village, and we appreciate everyone's effort. And it's really because of everyone that we've gotten off to the great start we have this semester. So we just wanted to give some general updates to start, and really just reminding everyone that we have the shared responsibility in our community to make sure that everyone is practicing the most safe and health-conscious protocols we can on campus. If you have concerns at all that something is not in line with our protocols, we encourage you to contact security, who can certainly step in if there's a mask-wearing situation or a social distancing situation, or you can submit the coronavirus concern form on the Return to Campus website. You can always email return@hccc.edu as well, and we are responding to that almost immediately. We continue to look for ways to meet students' needs on campus as we learn what those needs are, as our students tell us, and we are open to anything that they want to share with us at any time. We do have certain spaces on campus where students can now access a quiet space to either participate in remote classes or just a quiet space for studying. We found some students have an on-campus class immediately following or preceding a remote class. So they can certainly access our open computer labs. We now have the breakout rooms in the STEM building open. There are individual study rooms in the library building. And we also have the chairs on the counters at the STEM building for students that just want a space to, charge a phone or work on their laptop and so forth. So there should be plenty of space on campus where students can access study space. We also have expanded our indoor dining with the governor's guidance last week that we can have indoor dining. There are 5 spaces on campus where students can eat or drink, but they are really to stay in those specific spaces. Signage will be out in the next 24 hours or so. We certainly encourage, weather permitting, that people eat outside at either the culinary park, the patio outside of the STEM lobby, or the terrace in the North Hudson campus. But we also have identified the Bits and Bites Cafe, of course, in STEM is open Monday through Friday. I believe it's 8 to 2. Students can sit there to eat. The Liberty Cafe in the library is also available. The Nursing Lounge in S building, the Culinary Lounge in the E building on the 4th floor, and the North Hudson 2nd floor lounge. There will be signage showing capacity in terms of how many students can be in the room at a time. They are to sit, one person at a table, limit for 15 minutes, and the mask needs to go on immediately after they're finished eating and drinking. So we really want this to go well. So we hope that everyone will appreciate the space on campus and then work within those guidelines. So please continue to check the RTC webpage for updates as they are made. In terms of technology, our students have an extreme need for technology, so we ordered another 250 Chromebooks, which were delivered yesterday and will be deployed. And then we ordered yet another 150 Chromebooks, and we are seeking another 100 laptops to loan out to students who have a need for technology. The Johnston room in the culinary building is being converted to an ITV space that is being finished, and Tricia Clay and her team continue to work on the integration of an app with the thermal mirrors so that we don't have to do the health surveys through the QR code or the paper surveys anymore. So very soon there will be an app that you download, you complete the survey on the app, it integrates with the thermal mirror, and that is how everything will be connected. So more to come on that. We hope that's coming in the next week or so. And we are evaluating our emergency texting to determine if we can ask people to opt out instead of requiring them to opt in. This way we know that everyone is getting messages if there were a need for us to communicate with the entire campus. Next, I will cover health and safety. We do have our positive test protocol posted on the website, and we are making a couple of revisions to that. As we experienced our first case last week, we realized that we needed to update a couple of important pieces of information, and I'm really pleased that the protocol worked, and our health and safety group, convened immediately to discuss the situation. So I do encourage you to review that. We'll have an updated version up in the next 24 hours, but the most important thing we added is that we defined what exactly is an exposure. And an exposure to someone who has tested positive means you are within 6 feet of that person for more than 15 minutes. So we thought that was really important to clarify because it depends on where the positive case is, how many people are actually exposed. And I want to really stress the importance of confidentiality and privacy. So if you yourself test positive or learn of someone who has tested positive, we really need to limit the number of people who receive that name. So the protocol for students who test positive is to email myself and Dr. David Clark, that we are the only 2 people that will have that person's name. And if it's a faculty or staff member or any employee that tests positive, they are to email Anna Krupitsky and Heather DeVries, and they are the only 2 people who will have that name. And we want to assure you that if you have been exposed or if there is a need to know, we will reach out to you immediately with instructions for quarantining or closing your space. So if you haven't heard from us, that's a good thing. That means you have not been exposed and you have nothing to worry about. But we are moving very quickly and consulting with the health and safety group as soon as we hear of a positive case. So we appreciate your cooperation with that. We did revise the health screening questionnaire to account for those who are healthcare workers because it is likely they would have been in contact with someone in the last 14 days, but they have additional precautions and PPE. And finally, the Health and Safety Working Group has just done such an amazing job. It's very challenging for them to keep up with CDC guidelines and their own, integrating that with their own expertise. And they've really just done a wonderful job. And I hope everyone feels as confident as we do, Heather, myself, and the college leadership, that, we are consulting with them on every case to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So I will then now turn it over to Heather, who will continue the update.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I will add in complement to the information Lisa just provided. First and foremost, just a shout out to the Registrar's Office for all of their amazing work with the fall 2020 schedule and kind of the ongoing changes as we cross some T's and dot some I's, and their work too with the spring 2021 schedule as well. The deadline for associate deans to submit their schedule to the registrar was 9/18. Thank you to all the associate deans and Dr. Jones for their hard work in meeting that deadline, along with faculty and coordinators. I know it's quite an undertaking. So IRMA is taking that information and working on the spring 2021 schedule now. As Dr. Reber noted, we're offering a variety of 3 modalities, continuing to offer a variety of courses in the 3 modalities for spring 21, and registration is anticipated to occur on time, starting on Friday, October 30th for veterans, and then continuing online starting November 1st and November 2nd for kind of in-person remote. Otherwise, I am going to highlight some resources that were included in our most recent RTC communication, and then give an update on some of the RTC Working Group's initiatives. 2 videos have been circulating, one of peer leader Tyler Sarmiento, explained very concisely and clearly explaining the differences between online, remote, and on-ground, instructional modes, and kind of what comes along with each. And then another produced by Jen Christopher's office about kind of navigating campus in this new normal. So we will recirculate those links soon. These 2 videos are in addition to the recordings of the training sessions conducted by the HR Return to Campus Working Group, which are also available for viewing by the college community. Otherwise, I wanted to highlight some additional resources on ground that the entire campus community should be aware of. So again, we're all kind of aware of and communicating the same information consistently. The Bits and Bytes Bistro in STEM is open 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. Food pantries on both campuses are open Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and are accessible to all those who need their resources. The libraries, Gabert, North Hudson, and online are available 7 days a week at varying times. Consult the website, please. And open computer labs on both campuses as well are available 7 days a week, and the hours and locations of those can be found on the public website, www.hccc.edu/ITS/computer-labs. There are also resources for students and employees in terms of emotional support during these challenging times. Students now have access to support 24/7 through Talk Campus and can download the app through a link that, again, we will circulate again. And employees have the Employee Assistance Program that they are encouraged to make use of for emotional support during these times. The Human Resources Working Group recently launched a kind of a quote-unquote masked up HCCC campaign in order to encourage proper mask usage, so keep a lookout for information there. And then Space and Facilities. Ilya Ashmayan and Jack Quigley and their teams continue to be hard at work filling orders for supplies. If departments and divisions need supplies, they should continue to request cleaning and PPE through email as needed through their designated representatives. And then they also ordered and placed around common areas of campus 6 additional standalone water coolers as service to the water fountains continues to be disconnected. And then finally, when Lisa and I provided our last update, they were in the process of dispersing these kind of portable air filters to all spaces where teaching, learning, and working were occurring during fall semester. And that work has now been completed. And I believe all requests for portable air filters in any additional spaces have been met. So this concludes our remarks, and we will turn it back over to Dr. Reber.
Well, thanks so much, Lisa and Heather, and all members of the RTC Task Force. You continue to offer strong leadership in this time of challenge and complex planning. We are so grateful to everyone who's playing a critical role. Next, I've asked Dream Team co-chairs Sheila Dinan and Heather DeVries to provide an update on our student success work and, very importantly, an update on the upcoming virtual visit to HCCC of our Achieving the Dream coaches, Drs. Mary Fifield and Renee Garcia. Heather and Sheila.
Thank you, Dr. Reber. I will begin this afternoon with the update on the 6 HOW teams. The co-leaders are really beginning to, as Mary and Renee say, go into the weeds. They are organizing their committees. They're setting dates. They're looking for note takers to keep Heather and myself up to date. They are reviewing the action plans for their strategy and priorities. They're looking at the deadlines for when deliverables will be needed. And what we're also asking them to do is look at the data needs that each individual HOW team will have and work with John so that he is not bombarded in the request for data reports. So they are very busy. All 6 teams are working very well at this point in time. I also would like to give you the updates, again, for any possible proposals for Dream 2021, which will be in February. Heather and I have asked for anybody that is intending to submit a proposal to please submit it to us by October 1st. The deadline for ATD submission is October 7th. And we will have a little time to tweak it before ATD finalizes it on the 13th of November. Once they go into their review after the 13th, we will not hear anything until December, where we will be notified as to which proposals will be accepted. Anybody that is looking to submit the proposal, please make sure that you realize that you have to do almost 2 presentations, because there should be one that would be ready for an in-person presentation in February, or potentially have to do it as a virtual presentation. And if you need any help along the way, I've been talking to some people recently yesterday, and I can be reached at 4230 or sdinan@hccc.edu, and I'd be glad to help you out with this. Heather, I think your updates on the coaches' visits are next.
Thanks, Sheila. And I would just add about Dream 2021. Achieving the Dream accepts applications for Dream Scholars who attend and speak at the Dream Conference and have a whole separate program during the conference days. We are keeping an eye out for that application process and deadlines. It must be a current student. I think we're 99% sure on that. But if anyone has, we have so many amazing students, so please forward potential Dream Scholars to Sheila and myself, and we will kind of keep a file for when that application information is available. Otherwise, we are in the process of preparing for our coaches, Dr. Mary Fifield and Dr. Renee Garcia, to make their first visit of our second year in Achieving the Dream. They visit us twice during this year, and this visit, again, considering conditions, health and safety conditions, will be virtual. And they recommended, we went through a few drafts of the agenda, and ultimately they recommended spreading the visit time over 3.5 days or so instead of condensing, 12 hours of meetings into 2 days. It's just counterproductive and kind of screen time overload, which I think we can all totally understand. So they will be starting on Tuesday, October 13th as scheduled, and then wrapping up their visit on Friday, October 16th, with a meeting with Dr. Reber and Dr. Friedman as kind of a debrief session. But throughout those kind of 3.5 days, they will meet with a variety of constituencies, including the full Dream team. They will meet with each HOW team, so 6 separate meetings devoted to kind of digging into the weeds on what work is going on in each HOW team. And the important takeaway for this venue is that on Tuesday, October 13th, from 12 to 1, they will be part of a college-wide town hall where they will be sharing some remarks about the college's second year as an Achieving the Dream college, as well as remarks about our Student Success Action Plan from their perspective. You've heard Sheila and I have presented out regularly on the contents of our action plan. Again, how teams are kind of digging into it now and determining the timeline for their work or how best to approach their work. But it'll be nice to hear it from their perspective as well, kind of get a different perspective on the action plan. So that is Tuesday, October 13th, 12 to 1, and we are working with Jen Christopher and her amazing team to get out the save the dates and the calendar invites, so keep a lookout for those. Mary and Renee will also be engaging with our Uris Pulhos and Lilisa Williams in terms of a PAC Day update. They've been very interested in our PAC Day work. We'll give them an update on our strategic planning efforts surrounding the PAC Day goals, the academic master plan, and how all of those align with our Student Success Action Plan, and will lead into our next cycle of strategic planning. And they will present as part of the October Board of Trustees meeting as well. And the only other thing on the agenda is a deeper dive into data. We all remember the amazing presentation John Scanlon gave as part of College Service Day. We have shared that with Mary and Renee. Mary, I think, is watching it little by little and is just very pleased so far at what she's seen, and they are really looking into their conversation with him. So they will be very busy over 3.5 days, and we are really looking forward to hosting them, albeit virtually. Dr. Reber, we'll turn it back over to you.
Heather, just before we let go, I just finally found the Dream Scholar application. I will put it out for people. And the deadline for students to apply is November 26, 2020.
Fantastic. This is a really rich experience for students who are selected to be Dream Scholars. They have a powerful experience. They share their life story with thousands of delegates, and they develop a strong camaraderie and have a really wonderful professional development experience. So we certainly want to nominate our students to have an opportunity to be selected for that experience. So if anyone in our community wishes to nominate someone or suggest that someone be considered, I would ask you to contact Heather or Sheila. I also want to note that I had a great opportunity yesterday to participate in a conference call with Dr. Karen Stout, president of Achieving the Dream, and presidents of the new member cohort that at the time we began our membership. So presidents of institutions who were finishing their first year as network colleges, we were all asked to share some insights about our first year of work and our action plans, and got a lot of positive feedback. And also, I'm pleased to share that, actually, I should let you know, Karen told us that almost certainly the spring Dream Conference will be virtual, though they haven't announced that yet. I think we can expect it to be virtual. Because it's going to be virtual, there was a requirement that each member institution submit no more or be offered only one presentation opportunity, or at least a maximum of one. And I had written to Karen saying, oh my God, we've got so many good topics and people that would like to be considered for a presentation. Is there any flexibility? And she got back and said, yes, we're going to let you submit up to 4. So for those of you that were considering or still are considering participating and doing a proposal for a workshop, we no longer have quite the restriction we thought we would, but again, we're asking Heather and Sheila to sort of lead the coordination of those proposals. So thank you again, Heather and Sheila. I also want to add my thanks to Executive Director of Institutional Research, John Scanlon, his team, and many other colleagues for their outstanding leadership and contributions to our student success initiatives, including the onboarding and also the dashboarding of our Student Success Action Plan. Lots happening on the DEI front, and I next have asked our President's Advisory Council for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion co-chairs, Lalisa Williams and Yuris Pujols, to offer an update. Yuris and Lalisa.
Okay, thank you. I'll get started, and then I'll turn it over to Yuris. So good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are staying safe and great. I'd like to start by thanking Dr. Reaver for the opportunity to speak today with updates from PAC Day, the President's Advisory Council on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. First, we are excited to report that PAC Day met earlier this month on September the 17th and have now scheduled all our regular monthly meetings for this semester. Also, our 3 subcommittees are meeting every 2 weeks. Recently, several council members held our first meeting to discuss our strategic framework that will be formed around the 3 overarching goals that we collectively identified. PAC Day is having a positive impact on a lot of what is happening at Hudson County Community College. That's why I'm excited to announce that this year, for the first time, convocation taking place next Wednesday, September 30th at 9:30 a.m. via WebEx will focus on DEI efforts, which include a keynote address from Doug Melville, a DEI expert and chief diversity officer for an international company. The day will also include workshops that are focused on PAC Day's involvement in HR practices and lessons learned from eCornell's Diversity and Inclusion Certificate Program. The events of the day will help to further and expand all our efforts of diversity, equity, and inclusion work here at Hudson. In collaboration with the Academic Affairs Subcommittee of the All-College Council, PAC Day is also working on a diversity statement to be included on course syllabi. I feel that we are doing a great job, and I am not just talking about Yuris and I, or even about just PAC Day, but the entire college community, in and outside of our walls, our halls, and our Zooms. Our collaborations, people's willingness to bring these great ideas forward, turning them into something amazing, is helping to deepen our commitment to improvements and innovations as we strive to ensure that our student success work at this campus fully supports diversity, equity, and inclusion for all students, all faculty, and all staff. Now, I will turn it over to my co-chair and colleague, Yuris Pujols, who will speak more about PAC Day at HCCC. Yuris?
Thank you so much, Lalisa, and thank you, Dr. Reaver, for the opportunity to speak today. Good afternoon, everyone. I look forward to the day that we could have these town halls in person. I just wanted to share with everyone, last week we had a really awesome event called Candid Conversations with Men of Hudson, where Lawrence Alexander, an external diversity expert and DEI officer, led an incredible panel with some of our colleagues and friends. I want to thank Director Jose Law, Dr. Christopher Conson, Dr. Belino Joazil, Dr. Jerry Lamb, and Dr. Nicolas Chavarlati for serving on the panel and for making the conversation so meaningful. As noted by Lilisa, this was a team effort, and I want to recognize the behind-the-scenes team for planning and making sure that all the bases were covered. Some of the names might sound familiar: Natalia Vasquez-Barkins, Amala Ogburn, Kyle Willie, and Eric Adamson, Michelle Vitali, Veronica Gerosimo, and so many others. Another example that we had for the events is what Dr. River mentioned, and to the event that many of us attended before coming on this call. We held a memorial for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, an incredible and an unfortunate loss, yet one that brought us together. Again, I want to thank the individuals behind that: Kyle Willie, Natalia Vasquez, Parkins, Amala Ogburn, Eric Adamson, Paula Robertson, Nicholas Chavarlati, Lilisa Williams, and again, so many others could be added to this list. And I want to specifically thank them for organizing a call on Saturday to make sure that we're able to organize, plan, and execute this event in a timely manner. Lilisa mentioned that there's a sense of community at Hudson County Community College that goes beyond the group and beyond Pack Day. And I also want to recognize some of these other initiatives that are out there that are making this environment of inclusivity and community possible. Some time ago, we hired a director to lead the accessibility services area. That's instrumental, I think, particularly for the area that we're dealing with. The usage of interns to serve a greater number of students seeking counseling services. And again, given the current situation, that particular outlet is probably as essential as any at this point. And the establishment of the care team led by Dr. David Clark also provides a lot of streamlined services. As Lilisa mentioned, we're doing a great job. And again, we're talking about the community. And others are recognizing it. Lilisa and I presented about the establishment of Pack Day at the NJCU Community College Showcase earlier this summer, and about 70 people attended our sessions. And all the feedback that we got was positive. Since then, people have been asking the president, Lilisa and I, and others for information, the work that we're doing here. They're forming documents, and some of the requests are from presidents from New Jersey, from outside of New Jersey, from different areas. The last individual to seek our input was Dr. Marita Fifield, our ATD leadership coach. She wanted to use the information or the work that we've done as a framework to share with one particular college that she's now leading, and they wanted to establish some DEI infrastructure. She reviewed the information, and her response was that it was some of the best work that she's seen, and that she was asking for permission to share it with the entire college, to all her network of colleges. Essentially, I want to share it with all my colleges. That was powerful, and she also shared with Dr. Dinan and Heather that they would like to encourage us to put a proposal for the DREAM conference, which we're hoping to do. I just wanted to share that these recognitions and accolades, they're all to your credit. This is all to our community, all of us. One person, a group, or a committee does not get to accomplish that, right? That happens with a community buy-in. And from our end, we just want to encourage you to seek, your continuous engagement and to keep the momentum going. And, before I forget, I also wanted to add that Lilisa and I also put in a presentation for the NISAT conference coming up in November. And yesterday we got notice that it was also accepted, and we'll be presenting, promoting our story and the great work that we're all doing collectively at Hudson. Thank you, and that's all I have on my end.
Thanks so much, Luisa and Uris, and all members of the President's Advisory Council for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Your leadership and support for our students, employees, college, and community are absolutely inspirational and greatly appreciated. And I'm going to share just a couple of other DEI items. As was already mentioned, we're delighted that our convocation on September 30th will be focused on the theme Diversity Matters, Taking Action. And we look forward to hearing from an inspirational speaker, Chief Diversity Officer of TBWA North America, Doug Melville, And I thank Lisa Williams, Eric Friedman, Daryl Jones, Juris Pujols, Anna Kropitsky, and all who are planning and will participate in this day of professional development focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our speaker has done TED Talks, and I know Dr. Friedman has played a central role in recruiting him for this speaking engagement, and I think it's going to be a really powerful day. I'm also pleased to share that the New Jersey Council of County Colleges is establishing a new committee on racial and social justice. This will be comprised of 3 New Jersey Community College trustees and 3 community college presidents. And the committee is charged with guiding the important work that we need to do, and I would emphasize do together throughout New Jersey to address systemic racism and inequality in our state and in our communities. Our community college sector strongly believes that together we have a responsibility and an opportunity to make a difference on critical issues associated with educational access and equity, and particularly important at this moment in our history. I'm honored to have been invited to serve on the statewide committee, and I will share Hudson County Community College's best practice work with the committee and our sister community colleges, and I will also share what we discuss and advocate in the committee, including best practices at other community colleges with all of you. I'm also delighted to share that our trustees, Bill Netchert and Bakari Lee, have joined me in nominating trustee Pamela Gardner to represent the Northeastern United States on the Association of Community College Trustees Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. And the election will be held on September 30th, that's next week. And the New Jersey Council of County Colleges is encouraging every New Jersey community college to have their respective delegates attend the meeting of the HCCC Northeast region to support and vote for Trustee Gardner. We so appreciate Trustee Gardner's and Trustee Bakari Lee's leadership and support for DEI as members of PAC-DA and as Hudson County Community College trustees. And on August 24th, we hosted an energized and affirming virtual meeting with African American clergy in Hudson County. I thank Trustee Gardner for leading this effort to expand outreach and collaboration in order to serve more members of our African American community. Similar to our recent and ongoing meetings with Latino clergy and community leaders, we look forward to working with African American clergy to support our mutual shared goal of expanding opportunities for educational attainment through our respective communities. A few more notes, and then we're going to open it. This is a bit longer than usual today. I appreciate your patience. There really is so much important information to share and to celebrate. I'm pleased to report that thanks to everyone's efforts, we're continuing to see a gradual improvement in our fall enrollment. This is due in large measure to very strong and growing enrollment in our later start, shorter duration fall courses that begin in late September. I think we call that the Q, Quick Start, and late October, Online B. Our official 10th day fall enrollment, which is the enrollment that everybody reports as their official fall enrollment, improved from a long-standing 20% decline that we had been experiencing all summer to a final 14% decline. But we will continue, of course, to register students in the late start courses, even though they will not be officially part of the 10th day count. So our final fall enrollment should be slightly better than 14%, but I think it's now in the 13% range. I really need to do a shout out to Matt Fessler, Sheila Dinan, all members of our Enrollment Management Council, their team members, and so many others in our college community for leaving no stones unturned in our efforts to recruit and retain students at this time of great challenge. And I'm also pleased to share some good news for a change about the state budget. Can you believe I'm saying good news about the state budget? You might recall that Governor Murphy proposed that community colleges receive 75% of last year's state appropriation for the period of October 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, while at the same time proposing that four-year public university appropriation be kept level or at 100% of last year's funding for the same time period. This was a disappointment to our sector because our community colleges had requested full or level funding, having already received a 50% reduction in each of the last 2 quarters. However, our New Jersey community college sector has continued to advocate level funding with members of the legislature who are now considering the governor's recommendations and arriving at a new budget. And I thank many members of our community, students, faculty, staff, and trustees, for writing letters to our legislators, participating in meetings and webinars. We had a lot of students and alumni participate in a webinar last week of student leaders at the 18 community colleges, and just many members of our community who've been advocating community college funding support in myriad ways. I'm pleased to report, as of last night, that there appears to be support in the legislature for allocating an additional $25 million in state appropriation for our 18 community colleges. This would bring our remaining 9 months of state allocation to the same level of funding for this period in 2019, which is what we had requested. We're cautiously optimistic that the revised state budget containing this enhanced funding for our community college sector will be passed by the Assembly, the Senate, and signed by the governor. I do thank our colleague, Vice President and Assemblyman Nicholas Chevalotti, for his support and leadership and his guidance. And we will keep you informed. Prior to the pandemic, we, as you know, we retained Evergreen, a national human resources consulting firm, to assist and advise us in a review and updating of employee position descriptions, the development of an employee position classification system, and a market study to help identify and address potential equity gaps going forward. While this work was delayed because of the pandemic, it will commence in January. We remain committed to the project and to achieving continuous improvement in our employee structures and supports. So beginning next spring, our consultants will engage the entire college community in meetings to invite comments, perspectives, and feedback from everyone. And in preparation for this work, Vice President for Human Resources Anna Krupitsky is working with constituencies across the college to begin to update position descriptions, the college's staffing table and organizational chart, and a continued updating of college policies and procedures. The staffing table, as many of you know, is very much out of date. There are redundancies and inconsistencies in how we refer to offices and units of the college in position titles. You know, currently we have offices, departments, divisions, and units with other names that don't really correspond very easily with one another. There's just no consistency. So as part of this project, we're going to be encouraging a college-wide discussion about some of our nomenclature. For example, some have suggested that words like division and department are outdated and bureaucratic in tone. And instead of divisions, one question is, and I have to admit I have asked this question myself, would we like to establish schools that have growing identities as areas of focused scholarship and expertise? And also, is there terminology that might be more appealing and appropriate to our growing sense of family and inclusion than department? So as we prepare for the upcoming work with Evergreen, I've asked Dr. Friedman, Dr. Jones, and Vice President Krupitsky to convene open dialogue events around whether we might want to consider changes in organizational terminology that better describe who we are. It's really not the most important part of the project, but it is important. And so that work will now commence in the way of college-wide dialogue. So, again, apologies for the length of those updates, but I hope they're informative and helpful. Now, very importantly, we want to open the meeting to your comments, questions, and perspectives, and for our collective discussion. Lalisa, Uris, Heather, Sheila, and members of the Cabinet join me as facilitators for the conversation. Please press 10 if you'd like to speak. Hardik is here to facilitate. Many thanks, Hardik. So, questions? Hardik, how many do we have on the line?
152.
Okay, great.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is
This conference is now in question and answer mode. To alert the speaker that you have a question, press 1, then 0.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
So as we're waiting for questions, I just wanted to put something else out there. So Dr. Reber, thank you for your remarks and updates and for your continued commitment to providing opportunities for us to provide feedback in an open forum discussion. So I wanted to take a moment to present an important topic that has been brought to the attention of Human Resources, as well as the President's Advisory Council on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And so for this purpose, I will ask Uris Pujols, again, the co-chair of PACBay, to join me in this question.
Uris? Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Anna. As you know, PACTE has been collaborating on programming and other initiatives with the college community, and in an effort to include inclusivity, advocacy, and social justice. Recently, Dr. Chris Conson from Secaucus asked us to consider to provide the option of using personal pronouns on our employee business cards and other areas of choice, like our signature blocks, emails, or on our WebEx or Zoom display names.
So you may have noticed that my signature line includes my personal pronouns of she, her, hers. Other people are sharing their personal pronouns in their social media profiles or bios or in their introductions. And so the use of personal pronouns gives everyone in the room, even virtually, the opportunity to self-identify instead of assuming someone's identity or which pronouns they use. This is, of course, a personal choice, but this is particularly important for those that may not use common pronouns, and so this is just the first step of how we can respect and create a space for people's identity of all genders.
Yeah, again, we're asking for feedback on the personal choice of each employee to use pronouns on their business cards, signatures, bios, and other forms of introduction. This is, we want to make it a point that this will be an entirely voluntary process, and we welcome any comments or questions on the topic. If preferred, and you want to speak privately, you might also contact Anna or myself directly with your comments or feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuris and Anna. So comments, questions, things you would like to share? There's always some
Dr. River, this is Muhammad Imam. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
I have 2 points to make. Point one, I was actually trying to reach the clergy community to let them know and discuss the free tuition which is available to the community. I will appreciate if I can get the list or get in touch with them, because when I tried to send them, I sent them an email and all that, but did not get back response. So is it possible that I can get a list or any reference point?
I want to make sure I'm understanding you. You said you wanted to discuss, did I hear free tuition?
Yes, basically we have the tuition, right, which is available to the community, free tuition. The college, yeah, go ahead.
The Community College Opportunity Grant?
Correct, that's exactly right.
Okay.
They are, I see that 2 or 3 students actually I could get in touch and they did register. I wanted that opportunity for them. If it goes through the clergy, definitely there will be many more students available to us through that channel. So I wanted, if it is possible, to get that or get in touch, how to get in touch with them. I sent 50 emails to all the clergies, but I did not get any response, unfortunately.
Lisa, can you respond to that?
Sure. I'm actually not clear what the question is. If you have students who are interested in the Community College Opportunity Grant, they should contact financial aid directly. And if they do a FAFSA, they complete the FAFSA, they're automatically reviewed for that as long as they do the HCCC part of it.
I know that's not my question, Lisa. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
That is not my question. My question is, many students from that Black community, they are not aware that grant is available to them. And that is why some of them are not able to come to the college. What I wanted is the clergy group, if they can notify, then it will be easier for them. They will know that there is an opportunity and they can come to the college. That is what
the African American clergy group you're
talking
about. Yes.
Exactly.
So we have added them to our listserv when we send out communications to counselors, principals, superintendents, and so forth. So if they have not already received it, they certainly will. So we can certainly get back to you and let you know for sure that has happened, but we will make sure that the CCOG information gets to that group.
Yeah, and it would be, really, we have the Latino clergy group and the African American clergy group, and that's exactly why, that's a great example of why these groups have come together. They want to help us get that message out so that they can better serve their community. So yes, we want to do that.
And the second point which I wanted to add is that not only there are these Latino community and all, there is a very big Indian community, and the Indian and particularly Muslims, Hindus, they are also, that is also another clergy group which can attract more and more students for us. So if there is, I have actually two requests. Request number one, if there is any way that I can get in touch with them so that either we spread the news or in any way, if I can contribute to the channel, I will really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I did try at my level. I sent roughly around 50 to 55 emails and tried to get in touch with them through phone, cold call. Did not succeed that way. So when you mentioned, it is really very good initiative, and we can bring through that channel a lot of students. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Thank you. We would very much appreciate, yes, if you can help us be introduced to and make connections with other communities. We would like to do the very same thing. That would be wonderful. And you can contact me directly.
It's all right. I don't want to take too much of your time. If Lisa or anybody can help,
I can, Lisa, also Eurus and Lalisa.
Okay.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you so much.
Other questions, comments, celebrations?
Yes. I don't have a comment or I don't have a question, but I would just like to thank the last speaker for suggesting, for us to reach out to other individuals and other groups and other, other people. I just think that really speaks to the heart of, this call, what it's all about, and the work that we're doing. So much appreciated.
Agreed. Others. Students, we welcome your comments as well or questions. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
I am a student, or I should say a returning student to Hudson County. My name is Luz. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And hello, everyone else. I was basically more curious if it's possible. I know right now the pandemic makes things difficult, but it's because of these difficulties that I'm asking. Is it possible for Hudson County to develop a directory for the students to be able to contact the departments, not the departments, but people within the department individually? And I know that everyone or most everyone is working remotely. However, if we call the department, it gets forwarded to someone's personal phone number. So my question, I guess, to put it all together, is it possible when we type into the search engine, is it possible for there to be a directory that actually has someone's name and email as opposed to the department that you're calling? And the reason I ask is because when we're calling the departments, we don't always get a response back. And I understand the pandemic is making things difficult, but we're trying to work within the system that we have. And And so that's what I would like, if possible. And thank you for your time.
Oh, of course. Who can help me with that? With a helpful answer.
This is Lisa. I can give it a shot.
Okay.
At this point, we do not have an active directory on the website, but I can promise you when we launch our new website early next year, we will absolutely have this. We think it's imperative that students can get in touch with faculty, staff, anyone they need to at the college by phone and email. And I appreciate your understanding that the phones are not sometimes cooperative when some folks are working remotely. What I would suggest to you, you can always email studentaffairs@hccc.edu. We've put that out for students if you don't know where to go, who to call, or you can't get in touch with someone, that comes directly to me. So again, it's studentaffairs@hccc.edu, and I can point you in the right direction. You can also, my name is Lisa Dougherty.
Spell the last name, please.
Sure. DOUGHERTY. We also have a text line that you can text that goes to multiple people in the Student Affairs Division. That phone number is 201 509 4222. 201 509-4222, and we have probably a dozen people that respond to that, so we will certainly get you in touch with the right person. And then we are working on a phone system upgrade, which I don't have too many details on, besides the fact that it will enable us to answer our phones remotely as if we were in the office, so you would not have this issue going forward. So hopefully that will be happening in this during this semester.
Thank you. You don't know how valuable this is. Thank you. I appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Good. I'm so glad.
Yes, you actually answered it for me. Thank you.
Good. We do, of course, have a number of folks on the ground now that also could help direct you to someone specifically. But I think what Lisa suggests is probably the best way to start. We definitely, just to piggyback on what Lisa just shared, we're moving pretty far along on our total redesign of the website. This has been a project underway for the last year, and we expect to debut the next website in early 21. It will be totally redone, and it will have that kind of information available in a very user-friendly way with a full directory.
And the reason why...
I'm sorry?
Forgive me. Please go.
Yes.
I just wanted to add quickly, our CIO just sent me a quick message on the portal, so not on the public website, Luce, but on the portal where you log into My Hudson. There are department directories in there with everyone's direct phone numbers. Now, they are their office numbers, which might be being forwarded, but that also should give you their email addresses, so that could be helpful as well. Thank you, Tricia.
On the portal. Okay.
Do you know how to access the portal?
I am relearning because, as I mentioned before, I'm a returning student. I left to go to St. Peter's because I became an employee there. And so it made sense to go to school for free completely. Yep. I'm returning because I got laid off. Oh. Okay, which is fine. It's fine. Life is what life is. You roll with whatever is brought to you. But I'm realizing, and not to compare, a university from a college, but I as a student and as an employee, I see both sides of any issue, and it's because I was a student at St. Peter's and an employee. Sure. So now returning to Hudson County, I feel as if I'm in a deficit because Hudson County doesn't have a directory. And, this pandemic is real. And so going to the school is not really an option for me since I'm caring for an elderly sick mother. Sure. I have to stay quarantined, not because either one of us are sick, but because someone out there might be sick. And so going to the school, I'll do it if I have to, but I shouldn't have to. and then I'm not getting return calls, and that's not with everyone. But, you know, if you have a problem or an issue, this is not the time to not get an answer and have to go out of your house in public transportation. And, you know, I'm putting myself at jeopardy. I'm healthy and young, so it's okay, but it's not because I can get my mother sick. And to me, I would be killing her by having too much association with anyone. And that basically includes the bus. So by having this directory, if you guys can put it together, you will be solving a lot of issues, because we can email someone and the problem will be solved because emails are proof that we reached out.
Sure. So you can access the My Hudson portal off of the college's main page. Help me, I'm technologically challenged. On the right-hand side, there's a block that says My Hudson. Am I remembering that correctly, colleagues?
Yes, you are. Yep,
exactly. And you would enter your email and a password, and then you're in the site, and then you will find more specific information there.
I've been clicking around trying to get more familiar with Hudson County's website, and I will do as I'm told. Thank you very much for your time, everyone.
Thank you. Absolutely. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You bet. Other questions or comments? So, Hardik, how many folks do we have on the line now?
We have 140.
Okay. So I know there have to be a couple of other questions or comments out there before we say goodbye. Any others? Any celebrations? Any shout-outs?
Just like this is Eric. Can you hear me?
Hi, Eric.
Hi. I'd just like to send all my heartfelt sympathy to Sirhan Abdullah and his family. They have lost a member of the extended family due to COVID, and our hearts go out to him and his family.
So sorry to hear that. We will keep Sirhan and his family in our thoughts and prayers. Any others? Okay. Well, I thank you all for everything you're doing. Please stay safe and well, and please let us know how we can be helpful, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for being here.